Okay, despite a cool and wet spring, most of Canada can expect a warmer than usual summer. Environment Canada and Climate Change Canada says that the warmth could be the result of short-term heat waves or a more persistent heat that sticks around for months. Atlantic Canada, Quebec, Ontario, and northern Manitoba are most likely to see hot summers. What's uncertain at this point is how much precipitation there's going to be. Early indications suggest western provinces will see less than normal. Those provinces will see well above fire risk by August as a result. So over 700 people have been boarded. They've boarded evacuation flights in northwestern Ontario as the wildfire continues to burn out of control. So the fire is threatening the Sandy Lake First Nation, prompting mass evacuations in the community of about 2,000 people. The Canadian Armed Forces were called in over the weekend after the wildfire doubled in size to over 1,500 square kilometers. Premier Doug Ford says that firefighters from the U.S. have also been called in to help fight fires burning across Canada. Well, help is on the way for crews battling wildfires across the country. A 96-person Australian contingent of firefighters have deployed to Canada for 5 weeks after a request from the Canadian Interagency Forest Fire Centre. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese posted about the deployment online, writing, quote, "When our mates need help, Australia is there." Well, in the meantime, a new study shows that smoke from Canadian wildfires has reached Europe. And for more on this, I'm joined live by Dr. Albert Ansmann, a researcher at Leibniz Institute for Tropospheric Research in Leipzig, Germany. Doctor, thanks so much for joining us. I want to start off with this. Can you explain what aerosol particles are and how that relates to all of this?
Yes, I can explain. Thank you for the export of smoke from Canada. So I guess these huge forest fires west of the Hudson Bay, they put a lot of smoke into the air, and then weather systems take over, so they form thunderstorms and push the smoke up to the tropopause. That is about 10 to 12 kilometer height. And then, like civil aircraft, this smoke is going via Greenland, southern Greenland, Iceland to Europe within a few days. And so we see all the smoke, and we have now record-breaking smoke densities since about 2 weeks. And all this is coming from Canada, and it's traveling just 5 days from Canada to Europe.
Okay, and the last time you all saw this was during the fires of 2023, correct?
Yeah, we saw it. We are sharp for looking at fires from Canada since 2017. There were big fires in British Columbia, and since then we are really sharp. And the record here was up to now 2023. But my speculation is this year it will be even more dangerous for Canada too.
Okay, so let's break this down. Why do people need to care about this? Why should people be worried about? Should people be worried about this?
I think in Europe there is no danger, no health effects, because the smoke typically is traveling between 3 and 10, 13 kilometers. Some of the smoke really makes it up to the stratosphere, but that is quite far and high up above our heads. And the only thing is, what we see as a researcher is that not only climate change triggers all this fire smoke, is to our experience, this smoke is there and influences cloud formation, precipitation, weather pattern, and it's quite it's a new component in the climate change system.
Can you elaborate on what is being learned from this research?
Yeah, the research is really that we look at, we try to follow all the smoke into all heights and look at maybe at the tropopause and in the stratosphere. What we found out during a polar campaign 5 years ago, that this smoke, as it does now, goes to the North Pole, and in wintertime, it really contributes to the destruction of ozone and really makes the ozone layer even more empty as it is without the smoke. So the smoke has an impact on the full system, and we are presently working on it to find out all the pathways.
And I guess with that leads to my next question of, the environmental impacts. You mentioned the ozone. Let's talk more about that.
Yes, I think this is a problem more, not for Europe, it's a problem for Canada, because the smoke is often even at this, you smell it. And if there's smoke, it triggers a lot of chemical processes in the lower troposphere. And the end, there's more ozone than before. So there are many NOY and NOXs produced, and they trigger all these chemical components what at the end produce more ozone, and that is not healthy.
And as we wrap up, what do you want to leave the audience with?
So I did not really got the question. So what was the question?
As we wrap up, what are your final words to the audience?
The final word is that we are surprised about the big impact of smoke during the last years, and that there's the Canadian smokes, there are the Western American smokes, California is burning all the time, there are the Australian smoke, and meanwhile, these smokes have a worldwide impact, and they really affect climate, and that is new, and that started in 2017, as I told you, with the Canadian fires in Western Canada. Okay.
Dr. Albert Ansmann, researcher at Leibniz Institute for Tropospheric Research in Leipzig, Germany. Thanks a lot for staying up to make this interview happen.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.